The microclimate of a site is how the particular climate of a region is impacted by the particular characteristics of a local site. So for example, on the west coast of New Zealand we might have a dominant type of climate as far as the average temperature, the hours of sunshine, the wind speed, the rainfall. But depending on how particularly sheltered a site is from those winds and how orientated a particular area on that landscape is towards the sun, can have quite a dramatic impact on changing those regional climatic factors and influence them in a way that's either beneficial or detrimental to production. So some of the things we look at is firstly the aspect. So the aspect is the orientation of a landscape towards the sun. So the more north facing landscape is, the more sun it's going to get. So that will impact the amount of photosynthesis that a plant can carry out on a particular site, how quickly it warms up in the morning, and the overall amount of sunshine that location receives to be able to support production. So generally speaking, in New Zealand conditions where it doesn't get too hot, we want north-facing aspects and they're going to be the most productive. But in the same sense, particularly in the middle of summer, and if there's not much shade from trees in that location, having a south-facing slope can increase the production into summer because it won't dry out so quickly. Other things that can impact it is things like soil. So depending on the characteristics of the soil can also impact the production. So even within the same area there may be different types of soil. So there may be sandy soils, there may be clay soils, there may be silty soils, and depending on those characteristics of the soil will impact upon production. The slope is how steep the angle of that particular location is. The steeper the angle, the better the drainage, but also the more vulnerable that slope is to erosion from the wear and tear from livestock moving across it, and that will impact on how suitable a particular location is for different types of production, whether it's better suited to be covered in trees, or it can be grazed, or in intensive cultivation. Shelter will impact upon the strength of those winds. So a well-sheltered site will diminish those winds in a way that will support production and also increase the health and productivity of the animals in that site. So you're always, particularly in New Zealand where it's quite generally windy, looking at incorporating a lot of wind protection into production, and that's going to have quite a beneficial impact upon production, even when it occupies up to 40% of the landscape. Somewhere between 30 to 40% of the landscape devoted to wind protection, and that wind protection can also have a productive value on that farm as well, is a bit of the sweet value of what to aim for in production. And the last one is water. If it's quite a sunny spot, the actual reflection off that water can have quite an impact upon the rate of photosynthesis of plants that are next to that water. But also the water has a buffering effect on temperature. So as it absorbs heat, it can re-radiate that heat, and it can moderate the temperatures of that particular region. So it'll keep it cooler in summer and warmer in winter. So these are some of the things to consider in being able to select the most advantageous areas on a farm for different types of production, depending upon their requirement for shelter or for sun or for particular types of soil. And you can map out your property depending on these characteristics to select which areas are most suitable for different types of production.